Hello, and thank you for joining me for today's Spirit Share, where we talk about all things spirit. This is Beth Coughlin, and it is my hope that this channel acts as a lighthouse, sharing spirit's light of healing. Today's Spirit Share is dedicated to Michael Tamura, who is a spiritual teacher and has been my spiritual teacher for the last 3 years. He has helped me tremendously as someone who is extremely sensitive. I always looked at that as something that was challenging and something to be feared and made my life very difficult. And his teachings has empowered that aspect of me and taught me how to be, as he calls it, senior to your energy, so that, or to any energy, so that you can stand in your power of who you truly are. And that's what we're all here to do. We're here to be ourselves. We're here to be who we truly are and to stand in that signature and to help others do the same. That's really what it's all about. And as he would say, it's all about saying hello. So today's Spirit Share is dedicated to Michael. And it's a challenging one for me because Michael recently passed away on October 24th, 2023, at the age of 70. Michael has inspired thousands and thousands, if not millions of people through his teachings and just being who he is. He really, truly embodied bringing spirit here completely. That's what he did. He demonstrated that in how he taught and how he shared who he was with anyone. It didn't even have to be someone in his classroom. It could be somebody at the store or someone he met having while he was out with his wife, Raphaelle. Truly, he was constantly in that state of empowerment, of being who he was. And he's a very joyous man, and he certainly taught that when someone does transition to celebrate, because this truly is a moment when we get to be totally free and in that joy. So I know that he would want me to be in that place. My grief comes from my own sadness of never getting the opportunity to physically meet Michael because of COVID, and then him being diagnosed with acute leukemia. This caused me unable to, as many people were unable to meet him, as all of his workshops were done online. But his teachings continue through the amazing technology that we're in today. You are able to go to his website, michaeltamura.com, and see his teachings. And it leads you to other websites where you can get classes still from him. And one of the things that I did over these past 3 years is take his levels courses. There's 6 different levels, and once completed, you can take workshops in his shape group. And I was able to do that in March of 2023 of this year. So I was really grateful that I had these past few months of his last teachings. And again, today is about honoring him and sharing the amazing hello that I received from my teacher the day after he passed. And this is the story. On Wednesday, October 25th, I received the email that Michael had transitioned to the spirit world from his wife, Raphaelle. All of his students and those who receive his newsletter received the news. And I was, of course, devastated. And a few hours later, I had to go to the bank. So I had to, when I was at the bank, the teller, the woman that I needed to speak with, was busy, so I had to wait. And I'm sitting in the bank, and my eyes are still burning from crying, and I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden, I heard Michael's voice in my head say, "Open to page 46," and then I heard him laughing. Which if you know Michael, that's one of his signatures, is that he is just so joyful and so full of laughter and so celebratory. So as a medium myself, I very rarely have auditory objectivity, which is where you actually hear the voice. For me, it's with the clairs, where it's clairaudient, where it's sort of like where you're reading. For an example, like clairaudience is when you're, say, reading a book and you hear the words and they come alive in visions and sound. That's more how I receive from spirit. Objectively is super rare. It has happened to me half a dozen times, and this was one of them. What a gift. I heard him laughing, and I heard him say, "Open to page 46." And what's interesting is that Michael also taught us how everything in spirit is effortless. It's only here that we have effort. It's only from the divided self, the resisted self, that we show effort. And that's how we get in our own way many times. And so I heard him say, "See, no effort." So it was really funny. So there was this magazine in front of me, and it was a magazine that was called Greater Cape Ann Guide and Directory. And it's basically where I live. It's on the coastline near Boston. And it's all about like where to visit, da-da-da-da. So I picked up the magazine and I eagerly opened it up to page 46. And oh my God, it was this 2-page article about lighthouses. And I just broke out in laughter. And it took me out of that funk that I was in. And I then really, as someone who's very aware of signs, I started looking through the article, and I noticed that one of the first things they talked about was the Annisquam Harbor Lighthouse. And Annis is my maiden name, and my middle name is Ann, so I thought that was really neat. And so I was just in a great place of joy. And when I got back home, I was scrolling through Facebook, and everybody's now posting their, comments around Michael's transition. And I noticed this one woman, Karen Swain, had really posted her podcast that she had done back in, I think it was May of 2022. And the podcast was called How to Live Knowing You Are Spirit in Human Life. Michael Tamura, celebrated master healer teacher. Oh my God. Can I just tell you, please give yourself the gift of listening to this incredible This is such, I actually think this is one of the great podcasts that he gave, that I have found. Obviously his teachings on his radio show are beyond amazing, that you can still listen to, that him and his wife, Raphaelle, did for many, many years on Wednesdays. And I should mention that if you want to give a listen, that is a spectacular gift to yourself. This podcast was given by Karen Swain, and again, it's interesting because when I see a message because we can see tons of things all the time, right? But it's like, how do you know that it's something that I'm supposed to pay attention to? And for me, that comes in as like a magnetic pull with a kind of a knowing attached to it. So and I feel that is the pull of my soul telling me, hey, pay attention. This is for you to listen to. So immediately I clicked on the YouTube of this amazing, and I had listened to it back in 2022, and I remember it being really good. I just, then that's like what I remembered. Okay, yeah, I'll listen to that again. I remember it was fabulous. So I start listening to it, and oh my God, when I was about an hour and a half in, Michael starts talking about it. You guessed it, a lighthouse. And I am like blown out of the water. I'm like, there it is again. Him wanting me to see this is like a big message from him. And I really feel that it's a message that it's not even just for me. It's for all of us who are in the work of spirit, and sharing that when we work with spirit, we are being like the lighthouse for people. And I'm going to allow Michael, I'm going to play, it's a 2-minute clip on him sharing this on Karen Swain's podcast of what it means to be a lighthouse.
And one of the things, like you particularly too, but anybody in this group, you're being like the lighthouse. Right? Sometimes you might not feel like you're getting a whole lot done. But what's more important when there's a whole bunch of people stuck in a bad storm out there in the middle of the night with no moon or no light and clouded over, so there's no stars? They need a lighthouse that's steady, and that's kind of their lifeline. Not only their spiritual lifeline, but their physical lifeline, where the more of us are here on earth shining our light, we are the light of the world. And the more a person can own that and be the light of the world, then it's not exactly what you're doing every day, but those who are looking for that light are going to find it. And it's not distance. Again, at that level of the light, there's no distance, there's no time. There's just an experience of, oh yeah, that's where I need to head. Not in the sense of they have to hunt you down in Australia or even find your YouTube channel or anything like that. They just need to go, oh, that's the direction. It's the inner direction. It's like the stereotypical thing, go to the light, right? Well, when you're the light of the world, anybody who's in the dark, all they had to do is look up and go, oh, there's the lighthouse. That's the light. And it's not your light. There's only one light. So it doesn't matter which one of us shines our light. It's the same light.
It's the same light.
But wait, there's more. In true Michael fashion, there was an explosion of more sights and signs from him regarding this lighthouse. So here we go. As I was pondering, about the lighthouse, I realized that only a few days before Michael transitioned, I was in Rye, New Hampshire at Odeon Point, and I had taken a picture of a lighthouse in another building that kind of looked like a lighthouse with a sailboat. And I was like, oh my God. So I'll post them here. So I'm like, that's so random. Like, I've taken probably a handful of pictures in my life of lighthouses. And recently that was just a few days before he transitioned. Then what happened was on November 4th, I received an email from Ansel Adams Gallery. And what made me pay attention to the email was, for me, what it looks like when I need to pay attention to a message is I get like a magnetic pull with a knowing. And so I said, okay, let's read what this is. And they were, the email was about an artist named Tom Killian. And they were selling his print, which is called, and I'll read it for you. It's called Twin Lodgepole Pines II. And this all comes from my email that I'm reading to you, and I will post that. And so I'm paying attention, and then all of a sudden I stop. I realize his drawing is inspired by a Japanese drama that was done centuries ago. And so let me read to you what the email says. And as everybody knows, Michael is Japanese, so this is completely significant here. The ancient Japanese Noah drama, Takasago, by Ziami Motokyo from 1363 to 1443, tells the story of the twin pines, born in the same year but separated by sea and mountains. The two shrines of Takasago and Sumiyoshi are attended respectively by an elderly man and woman, a married couple whose enduring devotion reflects the mysterious twinning of the pines. This mystery is expressed in a stanza of the poem/play that is still sometimes recited at weddings in Japan. Here we go. Here's the poem. Here's some lines from the poem. Calm lies over the four seas. The world is at peace. The soft winds scarcely moves the boughs. In such an era as this, happy are the pines born at one time and growing old together. In vain words strive to tell the happiness of those whose days are lived with the great dance of the earth under the great dance of the sky. And then in parentheses says, the last two lines are retranslated by Gary Snyder. Gary Snyder was with Tom when he was inspired to create his artwork around these twin pines. So if you get an opportunity to look up the Tom Killian Twin Lodgepole Pines 2, you will see his artwork regarding this. But as I'm reading this, I'm immediately into my awareness. I know Michael wants me to share this with Raphaelle, that truly this is about two souls who come together, twin flames, if you like, who came here to do great work together. And as in the poem, they talk about the happiness of those whose days are lived with the great dance of the earth under the great dance of the sky. It's really about the integration of bringing heaven on earth. And these two souls, Raphaelle and Michael, have totally done that in this lifetime together. And I just felt so inspired by all of this and reading this that it made me think again of my own artwork. And I said, oh my God, Beth, back in October 22nd, actually, of 2020, I was in Gloucester, which is not too far from my house, and I took a picture of what's known as the Twin Lighthouses. And they're part of Good Harbor Beach. And it was at sunrise that I took this picture. And I thought, oh my God, I have to share this with Raphaelle. They're like the twin lighthouses that I have a picture of. And then all of a sudden I stopped and I thought, well, wait a minute. The article that I found at the bank had to have had the twin lighthouses in it because it's part of this area. Sure enough, there it was. The Thatcher Island twin lighthouses, known as the Twin Lights. And so, of course, I started reading, and this is the part that caught my eye, and I will read this sentence to you. The two towers, north and south, were constructed and placed so that when a ship puts sight on both towers, they point to true north, allowing sailors to check and adjust their compasses. And as you read this, I'm like, oh my God, if this isn't Raphaelle and Michael being like these twin lighthouses, helping sailors or, us souls out there check and adjust our compasses so we can point to true north. And what is true north? It's our true self. It's who we truly are. It's who we came to be individually, yet all together as one. And so they both have such a magical way of helping people find their true compass and their true north that I was like, I have to share this with them. I think it's amazing, right? And just so inspired by this connection, and that not only had I missed the connection in the article earlier, but that I was reminded by Michael through this beautiful Japanese poetry that it was important for me to point this out for Raphaelle in this article and to share this with her. And so in my excitement, I put together an email and I sent it off to Raphaelle, and she quickly responded with a beautiful email. And interestingly enough, I said, oh, I got to go back to the bank and find that magazine and see if they have another copy. And I did. And I said, I'm going to go mail a copy to Raphaelle so she has it. And in the process of doing that, Michael had a lot of fun. I pulled out of a specific road and on my way to the bank, and there was a statue of a lighthouse. How awesome is that? And I've driven by there millions of times, and I've never noticed it. It's, of course, that day I was paying attention and I saw it. And then when I actually got to the place to mail the package, there was a car that was pulling out as I was pulling in, and I quickly grabbed a picture because there was a compass on the back of the car. I'm like, oh my God, how amazing. And it's interesting because in the back, there's a store that's near where I had to mail the package, and it's a Goodwill store, and I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. It says Goodwill. So I thought that was awesome too. And so after that, if that wasn't enough, wait, there's more. About 10 days later, on November 15th, Lori posted something about a wedding connection to, you guessed it, the Japanese poem, which was that I read a few minutes ago, which is a Japanese poem read at weddings. Lori posted a talk. My friend Lori St. Clair, who is a student of Michael's as well and has been for many, many, many years, and a dear friend of Michael's and Raphaelle's, reposted a talk that he gave on Facebook on November 15th. And it was a talk that he gave when he was at his son's wedding, interestingly enough, wedding. And I'm listening to the podcast, to the talk, and it was amazing, as always. And then about halfway through, you guessed it, Michael starts talking about the lighthouse. So let me play that section of the talk for you where he shares what it means to be and to see a lighthouse.
Then we would all pretty much fall into that black hole. But we are aware there's a lot of suffering in the world, but we have to find the lighthouses. Yeah, like the sailors that are lost in stormy seas at night. They might look for that lighthouse or the North Star. Of course, in the North Star, sometimes you can't see it if it's stormy night. But there's lighthouses that not only say, oh, here's land, here's shallow waters, stay away from this immediate area, but it also gives you a reference. Oh, I know that lighthouse. That's so-and-so. And if that's so, then I'm headed north, or I'm headed southeast, or whatever direction. So these celebrations of relationships between souls that are joyously together. Those are little lighthouses throughout the world. And no matter how dark it gets in various places at any given time, you can look and go, oh yeah, I have to attend to this darkness. I have to attend to what's going on here that's bringing forth a lot of suffering here. But I have to keep my attention on. I have to keep my sights on those lighthouses, the bright spots, because that's what raises everything else up in this world.
Some of you might think, oh, that's pretty simplistic. But in actuality, that's where everything starts. And this is why when we have celebrations, they're reminders to the depth of our souls. Oh, remember, this is a celebration of spirit. A celebration of all that's good and truthful and loving, beautiful, powerful, creative. All that any of us might consider to be what's wonderful in life. That's what a wedding's for. To remind us each, it's a day for celebration. It's a few days of celebration, at least, so that we would look up from whatever is right in front of our face at any given time, our personal difficulties, challenges between people, financial, economic, social, political difficulties. And, oh yeah, we're here to take care of some of those things. But we have to regroup. We have to celebrate. We have to remind ourselves it all begins in spirit.
As you can see, this message of the Lighthouse has made a profound impact on me, to the point where I'm obviously making this spirit share. I also have gone through and changed around my website to really reflect this message of being a lighthouse, a vessel that validates and shares Spirit's light of healing and helping those who are in life's storm and are seeking their way out. And from this message, Michael has really shown me what it means to embody and to be that lighthouse for others in his own walk in this physical world. And he continues to do that. And I'm so excited to see all the ways he's going to continue to teach from Spirit side and how he's going to continue to help and share all to those who knew and loved him. And there are many, many, many people out there who have been touched by his kindness, his compassion, his teachings. And I know that I'm truly blessed and I am a better person. And I hope that I am more of my spirited self here in this physical world because of Michael Tamura and the teachings that he was willing to show up and share. Even when he was sick, he was still teaching because he loved it. It's who he was. He loved communicating. He loved people. And I hope that this share helps celebrate the message that he was here to bring, which is truly to be ourselves and to be who we truly are here as spirit, as the limitless self. How much can we show up as spirit when we're here? Because he certainly did that with incredible joy and grace. And I am honored to have learned from him and continue to learn from him. And I hope you all embrace some of this in some way and give yourself an opportunity to learn from him. His podcast is on Voice America. It's called Living the Miracle. And again, he shares that podcast with his incredible wife, Raphaelle Tamura. They also have a website, Live the Miracle. And that website, you can continue to take classes, which is amazing. And he set that up before he passed away. And his book, oh my God, you have to get his book, You Are the Answer by Michael Tamura. It's Discovering and Fulfilling Your Soul's Purpose. It is by far the best book. I have a copy of it always on my desk. And anytime I'm faced with a challenge, I literally open the book and the answer is there. It is a magical book. I have read it cover to cover several times, and I always continue to learn. And that's one of the things I am excited about is I have so many workshops that I have taken with Michael through Zoom and his audio tapes, so to speak. And every time I listen to them, I learn something new. So it's so amazing. So I'll say, "Oh, here's a class from a couple years ago," and then I go and I re-listen and I learn something new all over again. It's just amazing. So his teachings are going to continue because that was his legacy, to bring spirit here, to remind us to be who we truly are, and to leave this legacy of teaching that will go on and on and on and on and on. And I know he's going to teach from spirit. He's still teaching. And it's the one life, the eternal life that he was here to share with us. And he will continue to do that. I know he will. And everybody needs to pay attention, all his students, because he's here and he's showing up and he's continuing to be the lighthouse. Thank you so much for giving yourself the opportunity to listen to this memorial to my dear teacher, Michael Tamura. For more information about my work and what I have to offer, please visit my website, elizabethcoughlin.com, where you can subscribe to my Facebook and YouTube channels and stay in touch for more spirit shares. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.